Neville Goddard, Awakened Imagination, Chapter 7, Creation is Finished. Ooh, I am the beginning and the end. There's nothing to come that has not been and is. Ecclesiastes 3:15, ERV. I believe that means Expanded Revised Version, I believe. Blake saw all possible human situations as already made states. He saw every aspect, every plot and drama as already worked out as mere possibilities, as long as we are not in them, but as overpowering realities when we are in them. He described these states as sculptures of Los's halls. Distinguish, therefore, states from individuals in those states. States change, but individual identities never change nor cease. The imagination is not a state. Said Blake, it is the human existence itself. Affection or love becomes a state when divided from imagination. Wow. Just how important this is to remember is impossible to say, but the moment the individual realizes this for the first time is the most momentous in his life. And to be encouraged to feel this is the highest form of encouragement it is possible to give. This truth is common to all men, but the consciousness of it, and much more the self-consciousness of it, is another matter. The day I realized this great truth, that everything in my world is a manifestation of the mental activity which goes on within me, and that the conditions and circumstances of my life only reflect the state of consciousness with which I am fused, is the most momentous in my life. Don't forget, one finger at you, three fingers pointing back at me. But the experience that brought me to this certainty is so remote from ordinary existence, I have long hesitated to tell it. For my reason refused to admit the conclusions to which the experience impelled me. Nevertheless, this experience revealed to me that I am supreme within the circle of my own state of consciousness. And that is the state with which I am identified that determines what I experience. Therefore, it should be shared with all, for to know this is to become free from the world's greatest tyranny, the belief in a second cause. The belief in a second cause. First cause is me, myself, and I. Second cause is what you're pointing at. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Matthew 5:8. Blessed are they whose imagination has been so purged of the beliefs in second causes, they know that imagination is all and all is imagination. As I told you, I've been working on this 33 years. The first part of this, in the first handful of years, let's just tell you this, my first 4 years was 12 hours a day at bare minimum, reading, researching, analyzing, breaking down, realizing, applying. Believe me, if you were within 100 feet of me, you got an earful, because I was learning some amazing stuff and just trying to cram it all in there. But listen to this sentence again, and I don't want to say this is a difficult road, but I am pointing back at 33 years and trying to say it took me that long. I'm only speaking about my experience. I've seen people today move much quicker to realizations that it took me quite a bit, but I came from a different place in myself. My own challenges are mine. Yours are yours. This can be fast for you, fast for me, slow for you, slow for me. It's up to you. When I mention mine, I'm only mentioning mine because they're the ones that I can only talk to them. I can't talk to any others. But I am hoping that the wisdom I can impart and share can help accelerate your movement. That's my greatest hope. Listen to the sentence again. Blessed are they whose imagination has been so purged of the beliefs in second causes, they know that imagination is all and all is imagination. It's when you realize what I'm saying right here, when this whole finger pointing business, that's second cause. First cause should be obvious because you've got three pointing back at yourself. Second cause is this one. So when you realize this, when you realize what's happening here, that you can't blame anymore. The only thing you can blame is those, those thoughts you have here, the tape that's playing here. Blessed are they whose imagination has been so purged of the beliefs in this. Second cause is that they know that imagination is all, and all is imagination. One day I quietly slipped from my apartment in New York City into some remote yesteryear's countryside. As I entered the dining room of a large inn, I became fully conscious. I knew that my physical body was immobilized on my bed back in New York City. Yet here I was, as awake and as conscious as I have ever been. And let me tell you about yesterday's. It's funny how all this is a brew. When I had that OOBE yesterday, that was so vivid. I was on the beach. I was in the sand. I was at the water's edge. I was seeing those waves. I was seeing the color in those waves. I was talking to my friend on the beach, seeing his daughter. Everything was even more vivid than this right here. It's, again, as a few videos ago, it's all about where we put our consciousness. Here I was awake and as conscious as I have ever been. I intuitively knew that if I could stop the activity of my mind, everything before me would freeze. No sooner was the thought born than the urge to try it possessed me. I felt my head tightened, then thicken to a stillness. My attention concentrated into a crystal clear focus, and the waitress walking walked not. And I looked through the window, and the leaves falling fell not. And the family of four eating ate not. And they lifting the food lifted it not. Then my attention relaxed, the tightness eased, and all of a sudden, all moved onward in their course. The leaves fell, the waitress walked, and the family ate. Then I understood Blake's vision of the sculptures of Los's halls. I sent you to reap that whereon ye bestowed no labor. What an amazing phrase, quote. That's John 4:35. Creation is finished. I am the beginning and the end. There is nothing to come that has not been and is. Ecclesiastes 3:15 ERV. Let me repeat this quote. I sent you to reap that whereon ye bestowed no labor. Again, John 4:35. Again, where's the sweat supposed to come from? Weren't you told you had to sweat this? Weren't you just told you had to pound steaks for the railroad company? That's a wonderful quote. I sent you to reap that whereon ye bestowed no labor. John 4:35. There's some keys to the kingdom right there. The world of creation is finished, and it's original with, the world of creation is finished, and its original is within us. We saw it before we set forth, and have since been trying to remember it and to activate sections of it. There are infinite views of it. Our task is to get the right view, and by determined direction of our attention, make it pass in procession before the inner eye. If we assemble the right sequence and experience it in imagination until it has the tone of reality, then we consciously create circumstances. This inner procession is the activity of imagination that must be consciously directed, which is what we're learning over and over and over in all of these videos and all of these talks. We are learning to consciously control the direction of our imagination and cultivate our desire, control the direction of our imagination, and equal into our new objectivity. That's the main purpose of what we're talking about right here. Consciously. We, by a series of mental transformations, become aware of increasing portions of that which already is. All of his works are done. And by matching our own mental activity to that portion of creation which we desire to experience, we activate it, resurrect it, and give it life. This experience of mind not only shows the world as a manifestation of the mental activity of the individual observer, but it also reveals our course of time as jumps of attention between eternal moments. An infinite abyss separates any two moments of ours. We, by the movements of our attention, give life to the sculptures of Los's halls. Think of the world as containing an infinite number of states of consciousness from which it could be viewed. Think of these states as rooms or mansions in the house of God. Like these, like let's say these are all mansions in the house of God. This is the house of God, all of this. And like the rooms of any house, they are fixed relative to one another. But think of yourself, the real self, the imaginative you, as the living, moving occupant of God's house. Each room contains some of Los's sculptures with infinite plots and dramas and situations already worked out, but not activated. They are activated as soon as human imagination enters and fuses with them. Each represents certain mental and emotional activities. To enter a state, man must consent to the ideas and feelings which it represents. To enter a state, listen to this sentence very carefully. These are all states. You're in a state here and you want to be one here. You're here and you want to be here. You're here, you want to be here. The flexibility of all that. To enter a state, man must consent to the ideas and feelings which it represents. What are the ideas and feelings being happily married in love, in a relationship? What are the ideas and feelings that are represented there? And if you don't have them here, you must consent to those. These states represent an infinite number of possible mental transformations which man can experience. To move into another state or mansion necessitates a change of beliefs. I believe in miracles. Okay, that's all singing for me. What beliefs must you change to occupy the other mansion? To move into another state of mansion, to move into another state or mansion necessitates a change of beliefs. All that you could ever desire is already present and only waits to be matched by your beliefs. As we said, desire and the occupation of this objectified reality, which is your reality, this is nobody else's. It's a state that anybody can occupy, but the one here specifically came about by the desire in you. It's in your sight because it belongs to you. All that you could ever desire is already present and only waits to be matched by your beliefs. You must bring the frequency of your beliefs here to this level. That's relationship, that's in love, and that's in marriage. Also in business, what is going on in your business? What kind of customer count do you want? We haven't even touched on business yet. I ran my own I ran my own company for 13 years, a construction company, and I understand it very well. I put a lot of heartache into it. Running your own business is fun. It's an adventure. I don't wish it on any of my friends. You have to, if you want to improve your business from where it is to where you want it to be, you have to change the frequency of what you believe business is from where you are to where you want to be. All you could ever desire is already present and only waits to be matched by your beliefs. But it must be matched, for that is the necessary condition by which alone it can be activated and objectified. Matching the beliefs of a state is the seeking that finds, the knocking to which is opened, the asking that receives. What a wonderful sentence. Matching the beliefs of a state is seeking that finds, knocking to which is opened, and asking that receives, asking that receives. Go in and possess the land. The moment man matches the beliefs of any state, he fuses with it, and this union results in the activation and projection of its plots, plans, dramas, and situations. Remember, everything's included. It isn't just roses and parades. Plots, plans, dramas, and situations are all involved here too. You get what you concentrate upon. So you have that too going for you. It becomes the individual's home from which he views the world. It is his workshop, and if he is observant, he will see outer reality shaping itself upon the model of his imagination. It is for this purpose of training us in image making that we were made subject to the limitations of the senses and clothed in bodies of flesh. It is the awakening of the imagination, the returning of his Son, that our Father waits for. Man, couple sentences right here that really pack a punch. It is for this purpose of training us it is for this purpose of training us in image making that we were made subject to the limitations of the senses and clothed in bodies of flesh. It is the awakening of the imagination, the returning of his Son, capital His, capital Son, that our Father waits for. Remember, he made us in his image and forgot he was in us so that we would wake up and remember we are him. It is the awakening of the imagination, the returning of his Son, that our Father waits for. The creature was made subject to vanity, not willingly, but by reason of him who subjected it. Romans 8:20. But the victory of the Son, the return of the prodigal, assures us that the creature shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the sons of God. Romans 8:21. We were subjected to this biological experience because no one can know of imagination who has not been subjected to the vanities and limitations of the flesh, who has not taken his share of sonship and gone prodigal, who has not experimented and tasted this cup of experience, and confusion will continue until man awakes and a fundamentally imaginative view of life has been reestablished and acknowledged as basic. Wow. That was one sentence. Boy, he really had command of the English language. Another one that did this very well was Seth. His sentences were just like that, almost a half a page, and all proper English too, and I don't doubt this is proper English. I have to repeat that. We were subjected to this biological experience because no one can know of imagination who has not been subjected to the vanities and limitations of the flesh, who has not taken his share of sonship and gone prodigal, who has not experimented and tasted this cup of experience. And confusion will continue until man awakes and a fundamentally imaginative view of life has been reestablished and acknowledged as basic, which is what we are doing right now. I should preach the unsearchable riches of Christ and make all men see what is the fellowship of the mystery, which from the beginning of the world has been hid in God, who created all things by Jesus Christ. Ephesians 3:9. Bear in mind that Christ in you is your imagination. Don't be confused. That's the facts, Jack. This right there. Bear in mind. You like how he begins that sentence, right? That Christ is you, that Christ in you is your imagination. You could say it, Christ is you in your imagination. You could do the in and the is and flop them around there if you wanted to. Bear in mind that Christ in you is your imagination, or bear in mind that Christ is you in your imagination. Either one work. As the appearance of our world is determined by the particular state with which we are fused, so may we determine our fate as individuals by fusing our imaginations with ideals we seek to realize, which is the whole goal of watching your thoughts, being aware of your desire, your aim. On the distinction between our states of consciousness depends the distinction between the circumstances and conditions of our lives. Man, who is free in his choice of state, often cries out to be saved from the state of his choice. And ye shall cry out in that day because of your king, which ye shall have chosen you. And the Lord will not hear you in that day. Nevertheless, the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel, and they said, Nay, but we will have a king over us. 1 Samuel 8:18-19. Choose wisely the state which you serve. Choose wisely the state which you will serve. All states are lifeless until imagination fuses with them. All things, when they are admitted, are made manifest by the light, for everything that is made manifest is light. Ephesians 5:13. And ye are the light of the world. Matthew 5:14. By which those ideas to which you have consented are made manifest. Hold fast to your ideal. Nothing can take it from you but your imagination. Ain't that the truth? Nothing can take your ideal away from you but your own imagination. Don't think of your ideal. Think from it. From it. It is only the ideals from which you think that are ever realized. It is only the ideals from which you think that are ever realized. Man lives not by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. Matthew 4:4. Where's God? If imagination, which is Christ, is here, guess where God is? Man lives not by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. And the mouth of God is the mind of man. Oops, I didn't mean to jump ahead, Neville. Sorry about that. I've always got a habit of doing that. Become a drinker and an eater of the ideals you wish to realize. Now, that's a good one. You want to only be drinking and eating what it is your aim is after. You don't hear anything unless it's about your aim. You don't see anything unless it's about your aim. You don't taste anything unless it's about your aim. Your aim is your desire. You've gone in the closet, you shut the door, you said your I am meditation, and you've listened for your desire, and now you know it. Now you know what direction you're going in. And everything must fit that: bread, food, water, everything. Become a drinker and an eater of the ideals you wish to realize. Have a set, definite aim, or your mind will wander, and wandering, it eats every negative suggestion. If you live right mentally, everything else will be right. By a change of mental diet, you can alter the course of observed events. But unless there is a change of mental diet, your personal history remains the same. You illuminate or darken your life by the ideas to which you consent. You got to appreciate his words. You illuminate or darken. You are the light. Nothing is more important to you than the ideas on which you feed. Nothing. Nothing. I'm here to tell you, testimonial. As a matter of course, I started uploading about December 19th, and now I'm on quite a run, if you've noticed. And I can say that anything I might have been interested in viewing on YouTube before December 19th has drastically changed. If I go to YouTube now, as we all might, and just look at the homepage, it's trying to bait me with all kinds of stuff, which I do not care about anymore whatsoever. YouTube's algorithms trying very, very insistently to get me to find something I like out of this hodgepodge, and I'm like not interested. Before the 19th of December, pre-maximum uploadus operandus, I was interested in all kinds of things, learning all kinds of subjects at once. Now it's very directed, it's very focused. It's not completely blasted by blast of this subject or that subject. Believe me, it's still trying. There's things I'm like, that looks curious. Oh, no, I ain't got the time for it. Ain't nobody got time for that. It's very fascinating to watch as you make these changes, which you're going to make. You're going to see, especially in the YouTube feed, where the algorithm or whatever it's called, doesn't matter. They want you to use the platform to spend your time there because it has your attention, but also they don't mind being the entertainment system for you, which is great. I mean, it's a wonderful platform. I've learned so much there. I can never begrudge it. I'm trying to give back. That's what I'm trying to do right now. I've gotten so much wonder and awe and valuable lessons from that platform, and this is my way of giving back into it. You illuminate or darken your life by the ideas to which you consent. Nothing is more important to you than the ideas on which you feed. And you feed on the ideas from which you think. If you find the world unchanged, it is a sure sign that you are wanting infidelity to the new mental diet which you neglect in order to condemn your environment. Uh-oh. You are in need of a new and sustained attitude. You can be anything you please if you will make the conception habitual. For any idea which excludes all others from the field of attention discharges in action. The ideas and moods to which you constantly return define the state with which you are fused. Interesting. Use the YouTube analogy in this idea of understanding. Use what you're paying attention to right here on this subject. Therefore, train yourself to occupy more frequently the feeling of your wish fulfilled. This is creative magic. It is the way to work toward fusion with the desired state. If you would assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled more frequently, you would be master of your fate. But unfortunately, you shut out your assumption for all but the occasional hour. Whose fault is that? Who's to blame here? It's a hard pill to swallow. Let's listen to that one sentence again. If you would assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled more frequently. I'm single, alone, not married, not in a relationship. I'm in love, married, in a relationship. As a matter of fact, I'm almost pregnant. Okay, so you have where you were, you have where you are, but your senses tell you you're here. This is where you are. Remember, all time is now. You're there now. You're there now. Otherwise, the concept of it wouldn't even exist in your mind, in your desire, in your urge. If you would assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled more frequently, get your Casio watch out of the drawer, dust it off, set the timer to go off every 10 minutes, every 15 minutes, every 5 minutes, whatever. And ask yourself, I like 15 minutes. Just let it beep, 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 shut it off. Okay, what am I thinking of right now? How happy I am, married, in love, coming home off my honeymoon, being carried across the threshold. What a wonderful honeymoon I had. Then you get back to the insanity of the world. Boom, boom, boom. Do you have kids? Do you have friends? Do you have office? Do you have workmates, emails? What do you have? Beep, 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 beep. Oh, wait, let me shut that off. Wait a second. Give the 5 seconds if you can right then in that moment. Stop the attention and just give that 5 seconds to your fulfilled desire. It deserves it. The more, if you would assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled more frequently, you would be master of your fate. But unfortunately, you shut out your assumption for all but the occasional hour. No, last part of the sentence, strike. We're going with the watch every 15 minutes. Doesn't have to be a Casio, but they're, hey, I don't know what they are on Amazon, $5 or $10. And they look retro, they look cool. Practice making real to yourself the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Practice making real to yourself the feeling of the wish fulfilled. After you have assumed the feeling of the wish fulfilled, do not close the experience as you would a book, but carry it around like a fragrant odor. What is it like for me now that I'm married to be and feel married and happy in my relationship? It feels wonderful. I feel that right now. It feels wonderful. I am chillaxing making my left turn. This left turn's easy. I got no problem. Come on. Oh, you guys, you want to come from that direction? Come on in. What's the worry? Instead of being completely forgotten, let it remain in the atmosphere, communicating its influence automatically to your actions and reactions. A mood often repeated gains a momentum that is hard to break or check. So be careful of the feelings you entertain. Habitual moods reveal the state with which you are fused. It is always possible to pass from thinking of the end you desire to realize to thinking from the end. It is always possible to pass from thinking of the end you desire to realize to thinking from the end. But the crucial matter is thinking from the end. For thinking from means unification or fusion with the idea. Whereas in thinking of the end, there is always subject and object. The thinking individual and the thing thought. You must imagine yourself into the state of your wish fulfilled in your love for that state, and in so doing, live and think from it and no more of it. Let me repeat the sentence. I need to clean it up because my pacing and etc. Let me go again. You must imagine yourself into the state of your wish fulfilled in your love for that state. And in so doing, live and think from it and no more of it. You pass from thinking of to thinking from by centering your imagination in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Centering your imagination in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. I did that left turn example I gave in the last video. I did that in my falling asleep 2 nights ago. Wait. It might have been, yeah, before that. Not this morning, but the morning of yesterday, and it was the morning of the out of body, and it was as I was going to sleep before that out of body. It was when I was making that left turn. And I thought, oh, there's traffic coming over. And what I'll do when I think of driving, I'll just make the road completely wide open and clear, no cars. But in this case, I went ahead and I visualized me letting the cars come because I had no worries. I had no worries. And I'm like, oh, let me just let these cars go by. And then I was falling asleep and I was drifting. And then I brought myself right back to that situation. And that situation electrified, like the whole. It was as if I had an immediate lucid. I was falling asleep, drifting into that car intersection thing. Then as I fell asleep, I came back, not with my eyes open, but I came back to realize I want to play out that scene, and the whole scene electrified. It was like as if it all expanded. Everything expanded in this very instantaneous flash. Like he mentioned that only a chapter ago, I think, or 2 at the most. The expansion. It's exactly what I experienced. And then I was off, gone. And then within the out of body was either right away or that an hour later or 2 hours later, because I went to sleep for another couple hours. It is quite a thing, and you must persist. Whatever it is, I was just simply making a left turn and applying other meditations I try to put on the tape, or I'll put on chakra healing to balance your colors. Whatever, anything that has binaural beats, whatever you want to go to sleep with, throw something on. Throw binaural beats, throw a chakra meditation, throw whatever, a meditation that you have to consciously pay attention to and walk through a scene. All of these things are getting you to use your own wonderful human imagination. That's the point. As you go from one world to the other, let me see if I have room on the board. You know the old symbol? And it has like an image like this in it, I think, something like that. And let's say this is the white part, and this is the mostly dark part, and there's a white dot there. In my opinion, this represents night on this side. This is night, and this is day. Okay? And this is day. So my opinion is this symbol represents you're taking your conscious awareness, that's the white dot, into your sleeping state. So you're going to sleep with your aim on your mind, and you're embedding that into your sleep state. But while you wake up, you're also bringing the conscious awareness of your sleeping self, your subjective self, into the daytime. So you're doing both here. As you go to sleep, you take that subjective impression, and part of the expression is coming into your waking self. It's as if you're going to sleep this way, which is you're taking the daytime objective in your mind into the sleep state. And then when you wake up, you're bringing what is represented in sleep, because it's not in front of you yet, you're bringing that instantly into your daytime. So this objective reality is represented by that dot. That's coming into your waking reality. So this is your objective reality is coming from your sleeping state, your subjective state, your subconscious, and vice versa. So the more you can write down your dreams, when you come awake in the morning, and or take your image of what your desire and aim is to your sleep, you're getting the flexibility here. You're working with both of these places. You're getting the dance. You're starting to get the dance going. It's just you. All of this is just you. Everything is you anyway. So you want to work with it. Hope that made sense. All right. We'll see you in the next chapter.